What if I told you that everything you've been chasing has been quietly waiting for you all along? That the answers didn't arrive late, you just weren't ready to see them yet. We spend our lives trying to control the timing of everything, not realizing that life has its own perfect rhythm. And the moment you stop forcing, stop chasing, something unexpected happens. Clarity finds you. You are not the one who chooses the moment of awakening. Awakening chooses you. And when it finally arrives, you begin to see that it was never absent. It was quietly waiting all along. Have you ever noticed how the most profound realizations don't come when you chase them, but when you least expect them? You can hear the same idea again and again, acknowledge it, even forget it, and then one day it hits you with a force you can't ignore. Life moves in its own timing.
It doesn't rush. It gently signals, pauses, and waits until you are ready to truly receive. This is why it's often said that truth isn't something you hunt for. It's something that finds its way to you. Just like a flower opens when its season comes. Your awareness unfolds when the time is right. And when we speak of God, not as a figure, but as the intelligence behind existence, it knows exactly when that moment is. What we call coincidence or synchronicity is simply life delivering what you need at the perfect time. A book appears in your life unexpectedly. A sentence you overhear suddenly feels deeply personal. A teacher crosses your path without planning. You may have experienced this before. You listen to a song once and it feels ordinary, almost forgettable. Then years later you hear it again, and it feels like it was written just for you, as if it had been waiting for this version of you to understand it.
So what changed? Not the music. You did. You grew, you endured, you softened, and you opened. That's when meaning can finally enter. Readiness isn't about how smart you are. It's about being prepared within. An apple doesn't fall from a tree because it's clever. It falls because it's ripe. The truth has always been there. The lessons were never hidden. But until your perspective shifts, you simply cannot see them. That's why some of you might feel like these words are reaching you for a reason, as if this moment isn't random, but somehow meant to happen. Still, instead of calling it a grand design, it's better understood as rhythm. Life moves like music, and this moment is just one note in a much larger composition. The melody doesn't follow your control, it follows its own mysterious flow.
When we say that you are ready, it doesn't mean something outside of you has judged you worthy. It means that life itself is unfolding you, slowly and naturally, just like a fern opening one delicate layer at a time. Everything unfolds in its own time.
A leaf doesn't open all at once. It slowly reveals itself, and only when it is opened enough can the next layer be seen. Trying to rush this process is pointless. Forcing awakening is like pulling at a flower bud to make it bloom sooner. You don't speed it up, you damage it. So instead of pushing, you learn to wait. You begin to trust that when the moment is right, what is meant for you will arrive naturally. But this is where it gets challenging. We live in a world obsessed with speed, control, and constant progress. We're taught that if we just read more, learn more, and practice more, we can make anything happen, including awakening. But it doesn't work that way. It's like trying to fall asleep by effort. The harder you try, the more awake you become. Real awakening, like sleep, only comes when you stop trying to control it. It happens when you let go, when you relax your grip. When you stop interfering, something deeper begins to grow on its own.
Readiness isn't something you can manufacture through effort alone. It develops quietly through your life experiences, through pain, through failure, through moments of beauty and confusion. Every experience softens something inside you. It breaks down your defenses, and in that openness, truth can finally enter. If you're hearing this now, it may be because life has already shaped you enough. Maybe you've been through enough challenges or paused long enough that part of you has become open and receptive. And when that happens, understanding flows in naturally, like water filling an empty cup.
Many people imagine God as something separate, watching from the outside, deciding who deserves what. But it's not like that. God is not separate from you. It is the very process of your becoming. It's the same intelligence that moves the stars, guides the oceans, and beats within your chest. It's not that something outside suddenly chooses you. It's that you and that greater force begin to move in harmony. And when that alignment happens, clarity appears. You don't miss it because it's already within you. Think about music. A note played at the wrong time sounds off, even if it's technically correct. But when it's played at the right moment, it becomes something beautiful. Life works the same way. Truth given too early can feel confusing or overwhelming. But when it arrives at the right time, it transforms you. This is why people often say that when you're ready, the teacher appears.
In reality, the teacher may have always been there. The difference is that now you can actually hear them. Something inside you has shifted, and you're finally tuned in. And here's something important to understand. You weren't not ready before by mistake. That phase was necessary. You can't understand light without experiencing darkness. You can't truly value peace without going through chaos.
What you might call mistakes or delays were actually preparing you. They were shaping you into someone who could receive deeper understanding. So don't regret the time it took. Every wrong turn, every moment of doubt, every period of feeling lost, it all played a role. Even when you thought you were far from the truth, you were actually being guided toward it in ways you couldn't see. If you find yourself here now, hearing these words, it's not random. Life has a subtle way of arranging things. It nudges situations, aligns moments, and brings you exactly where you need to be when you're ready to receive it. Not in a rigid, fixed way, but more like a dance. You take a step, life responds. You resist, it gives you space. You open up, and it flows in. Timing isn't something forced on you. It's something that happens through your relationship with life itself. You can't force readiness, but you can create the right conditions for it.
Like a farmer who can't control the rain but can prepare the soil, plant the seeds, and remove the weeds.
In the same way, by calming your mind, loosening your ego, and fully experiencing both joy and pain, you prepare yourself. You make space within. And when the moment comes, when insight arrives, it doesn't just pass by, it settles deep inside and changes you. You've probably looked back at certain moments and realized that if you had heard something important back then, you wouldn't have understood it. That's not because it was hidden from you, but because you weren't ready to hold it yet. Life doesn't delay things to punish you, it does it to protect you. Giving deep truth too early can overwhelm you. It's like giving a child a complex book. They might flip through it, but it won't mean anything until they grow into it. In the same way, the lessons of your life wait until you are capable of truly receiving them. So trust the process.
If something hasn't happened yet, it doesn't mean it won't. It simply means it's not time. If a door hasn't opened, it may be because what's behind it requires a version of you that is still forming.
Trust that whatever is meant for you will come when you are truly able to receive it. And when it finally arrives, you'll look back and be amazed at how perfectly everything lined up. The pain that once felt pointless will reveal itself as the very thing that grew your compassion. The delay that frustrated you will turn out to be the pause that protected you. Even the time you thought was wasted will show itself as the season that quietly prepared you. Some of you may still feel impatient, thinking, I want to wake up faster. I want answers now. But that urgency is exactly what stands in the way. Awakening doesn't respond to pressure. It comes through letting go. When you cling tightly, your hands are closed. And when your hands are closed, nothing new can be given to you. Only when you loosen your grip, when you stop trying to control everything, can something real enter your life.
There's a strange truth in this. The moment you stop chasing enlightenment, it finds you. It doesn't arrive with noise or announcement. It slips in quietly, almost unnoticed at first. Think about love. You can't plan it, force it, or schedule it. It shows up in its own time, often when you least expect it. But you can make yourself ready for it by being open, honest, and fully alive. Awakening works the same way. It comes to you in simple, ordinary moments. Maybe it's in watching a sunset, sharing a laugh, or sitting in stillness. Suddenly something shifts, and everything becomes clear. You realize that nothing was missing. You were just holding on too tightly to see it.
Being ready isn't about adding more knowledge or becoming something new. It's about letting go of the barriers you've built inside yourself. So you might wonder, if everything has its timing, then what is your role in all of this? Your role is simply to live fully and honestly, to make mistakes, to fall and rise again, to love deeply, to lose, to feel joy and pain. Every part of your experience is preparing you, shaping you, making space within you. You don't need to worry about when things will happen. That part isn't yours to control. Your part is to live your life. Through living, you mature. And when you're ready, things unfold naturally, just like fruit falling from a tree when it's ripe. There's a story about a student who went to a Zen master, frustrated and desperate for enlightenment. He said, "I've done everything, studied, meditated, sacrificed, but I still don't understand."
The master responded by pouring tea into the student's cup. He kept pouring even after the cup was full, until it overflowed. The student finally protested, "Stop, it's already full." And the master calmly replied, "Exactly. How can anything new enter when you are already so full?"
The message is simple. To receive something new, you must be willing to empty yourself. Are you willing to admit that you don't have all the answers? Are you willing to drop your defenses and allow yourself to be open? That openness is what makes you ready. It's not about becoming smarter or more accomplished. It's about creating space within yourself. And here's the paradox. You don't become ready by trying harder. You become ready by releasing the need to try so hard, by allowing yourself to simply be. When that happens, you don't have to go searching for truth. It finds you. It might come through a conversation, a quiet moment, a piece of music, or even through heartbreak. The form doesn't matter. What matters is that you recognize it when it arrives. And when it does, it will feel as though life has been speaking to you all along. Only now, you're finally able to hear it.
If you're listening to this right now, maybe it's because you are ready, not in some final, complete way, but ready for the next step. Readiness isn't a one-time event. It happens in layers, again and again. Each realization opens the door to a deeper one. You don't arrive at a final destination. You keep unfolding, like a flower opening one petal at a time. A flower doesn't rush its bloom. It trusts the sunlight, the rain, and the timing of its own nature. And you are no different.
But remember, being ready doesn't mean life suddenly becomes easy. In fact, it often means you're strong enough to face deeper truths. Some of these truths might challenge you, even unsettle you. But if they've come into your life, it means you have the strength to handle them. Life doesn't place weight on you without also giving you the capacity to carry it. So if something feels heavy, don't assume it's too much. It may simply mean you've grown enough to hold it. And as you carry it, you grow even stronger. So what should you do now? Nothing complicated. Just be present. Just live. Let these words settle within you like seeds in the soil. Don't rush to turn them into immediate understanding. Give them time to grow. Maybe you'll forget them tomorrow. That's okay. Because when the moment is right, when you are ready again, they will return, clearer, deeper, and exactly when you need them. There's something subtle but powerful in realizing that life isn't late. It isn't early. It's precise. We often measure our journey against others or against some imagined timeline, and that creates unnecessary pressure. But growth doesn't follow a schedule you can track. It moves in cycles, in layers, in quiet shifts that you sometimes only recognize much later. What feels like stagnation is often invisible progress. What feels like delay is often protection or preparation. When you begin to see this, your relationship with control starts to change. You notice how much of your stress comes from trying to force clarity, force outcomes, force understanding. But forcing creates resistance. It tightens your mind and closes your perception. In contrast, when you relax into uncertainty, something opens. You become more observant, more receptive. You start noticing patterns, connections, small signs you would have missed before.
This doesn't mean you become passive or stop taking action. It means your actions come from a different place, not from desperation, but from alignment. You still work, you still learn, you still grow, but without the inner tension that says, "I must have this now." Instead, there's a quiet trust that what is meant for you cannot miss you. Another important part of this journey is learning to sit with discomfort. Most people try to escape confusion, pain, or uncertainty as quickly as possible. But these states are not obstacles, they are part of the process. Confusion breaks old patterns.
Pain softens rigid parts of you. Uncertainty pushes you beyond your usual limits. If you rush to escape them, you miss what they are trying to teach. Over time, you begin to see that every experience has a role. Even the ones you once labeled as failures or mistakes were shaping your awareness. They were stripping away illusions, forcing you to question, to reflect, to grow. Without them, you might have stayed comfortable but unchanged. There's also a shift in how you view patience. It's no longer just waiting, it becomes an active state of trust. It's the understanding that something is happening even when you can't see it yet. Just like seeds grow underground before they ever break the surface, much of your transformation happens out of sight. If you keep digging up the seed to check its progress, you interrupt the process. Trust allows it to grow undisturbed.
As you deepen into this way of seeing, you may notice a quiet sense of ease entering your life. Not because everything is perfect, but because you're no longer fighting everything. You begin to flow with situations rather than constantly resisting them. You listen more to yourself, to others, to life itself.
And in that listening, insights come more naturally. Not as dramatic revelations all the time, but as small, clear understandings that shift your perspective. Sometimes it's a simple realization that changes how you see everything. Sometimes it's just a feeling of peace where there used to be struggle. You also become less attached to needing certainty about the future. The need to have everything figured out starts to fade. Instead, you become more present. You focus on what is in front of you, what you can do now, how you can respond with awareness in this moment. And strangely, this presence often brings more clarity than overthinking ever did. There's a kind of humility that grows in this process too. You begin to accept that you don't control everything, and that's not a weakness, it's a relief. You don't have to carry the entire weight of life on your shoulders.
You're part of something much larger, something that is already moving, already unfolding. And when you really start to feel that, a quiet confidence replaces anxiety. Not the confidence of knowing everything, but the confidence of trusting the process. You don't panic when things are unclear. You don't rush when things are slow. You don't cling when things are changing.
Instead, you stay open, you keep moving, you keep living. And gradually, almost without noticing, you find that the things you once searched for so intensely, clarity, peace, understanding, begin to appear on their own. Not because you chased them harder, but because you created the space for them to arrive. As you continue to reflect on this, you may start noticing how much of your life was shaped by the belief that everything depends on your effort alone. That belief can be useful to a point. It pushes you to act, to improve, to strive. But beyond a certain stage, it becomes a burden. It creates the illusion that if something hasn't happened yet, you must be doing something wrong. In reality, many things are simply not ready to unfold. There is a deeper intelligence at work, one that doesn't operate on urgency but on harmony. When something is aligned, it flows with surprising ease.
When it's not, no amount of forcing seems to make it work. You've probably experienced both moments where everything clicks effortlessly and moments where nothing moves no matter how hard you push. These aren't random, they are signals. Learning to read these signals is part of awakening. Instead of constantly asking, how can I make this happen? You begin to ask, is this the right time?
Is this in alignment? That shift alone can save you from a lot of unnecessary struggle. Another layer to understand is the role of identity. Often what blocks growth is not lack of effort, but attachment to who you think you are. You hold on to certain beliefs about yourself, your limits, your story, your past, and these act like walls. Awakening begins when those walls start to crack. Not because you destroy them forcefully, but because life keeps showing you experiences that no longer fit inside them. This can feel uncomfortable, even disorienting. You may feel like you're losing your sense of certainty, but what's really happening is expansion. You are outgrowing the version of yourself that once felt secure. And just like outgrowing old clothes, it can feel strange at first, but it's a sign of growth. There's also a quiet shift in how you relate to time.
Instead of constantly projecting into the future or replaying the past, you begin to value the present moment more deeply. Not in a forced, I must be mindful way, but naturally, you realize that life is only ever happening now. And the more you are here, the more connected you feel.
This presence sharpens your awareness. You notice the small details, the tone in someone's voice, the feeling in your body, the subtle changes in your environment. These details carry information. They guide you. They help you move with life instead of against it. At the same time, you may find that your need for external validation starts to fade. You don't rely as much on others to tell you if you're on the right path. There's a growing sense of inner knowing, not loud or arrogant, but quiet and steady. It doesn't shout, it simply feels right. This doesn't mean you stop learning from others. It means you balance external input with internal awareness. You listen, but you also check within. And over time, that inner voice becomes clearer. Another important realization is that awakening isn't a permanent state you reach and stay in forever. It's dynamic. There are moments of clarity and moments of confusion, periods of openness and periods of contraction.
And that's okay. Each phase has its purpose. Sometimes you will feel deeply connected, at peace, understanding everything. Other times, you may feel lost again. This doesn't mean you've gone backward. It means you're being prepared for a deeper level. Each cycle takes you further than the last, even if it doesn't feel that way in the moment.
You also begin to see that not everything needs to be labeled or explained. The mind always wants to categorize, define, and conclude. But some aspects of life are meant to be experienced, not analyzed. When you allow that, a different kind of intelligence emerges, one that is intuitive rather than logical. And with that intuition comes trust. Not blind trust, but a grounded sense that you are being carried through your experiences in a way that makes sense, even if you can't see the full picture yet. This trust doesn't remove challenges from your life, but it changes how you face them. Instead of asking, "Why is this happening to me?" you start asking, "What is this trying to show me?" That simple shift turns obstacles into opportunities for growth. You may also notice that your relationships begin to change.
As you become more aware, you're less interested in surface-level interactions and more drawn to depth and authenticity. Some connections may fall away, not out of rejection, but because they no longer align with who you're becoming. And new ones may enter that reflect your current state.
Through all of this, one thing becomes clear. You are not separate from the process. You are the process. Life is not happening to you, it is happening through you. Every thought, every feeling, every experience is part of this unfolding. And when you truly see that, something relaxes inside you. The constant need to control, to figure everything out, to rush ahead, it starts to fade. In its place, there is a quiet participation. You are still engaged, still living fully, but without the same resistance. From here, growth becomes less about striving and more about allowing. Less about becoming someone else and more about uncovering what has always been there beneath the noise. And step by step, moment by moment, you continue to open. Not all at once, not perfectly, but naturally. Awakening isn't something you can force or schedule. It unfolds when you are ready. Life works in its own quiet timing, shaping you through experiences, challenges, and moments of reflection. What feels like delay is often preparation, and what feels like confusion is part of your growth. The more you try to control everything, the more resistance you create. But when you begin to let go, to trust the process, something shifts inside you. You become more open, more aware, and more receptive to truth. It's not about adding more knowledge, but about removing the barriers within you. Every experience, whether joyful or painful, plays a role in softening you and expanding your understanding. Over time, you realize that nothing was random. Everything was guiding you toward this awareness. And when clarity comes, it feels natural, as if it was always there, simply waiting for you to see it.
Nothing was ever out of place. Every delay, every struggle, every moment of confusion was shaping you for this exact point. You were never behind, only becoming ready in ways you couldn't yet see. When you finally let go of control and trust the rhythm of life, everything begins to make sense in its own quiet way. The truth doesn't arrive with force, it reveals itself when you are open enough to receive it.
And when that moment comes, you realize it was never missing. It was waiting for you.